Hi there. Today I want to talk about quieting our inner critic, elevating our self-compassion, and creating more conviction in our work and our lives. We all have an inner critic that we'd rather not deal with. We all have that one voice in our head making sure we overthink and underestimate ourselves at exactly the right time. Successful people have learned how to turn down the volume on that voice and quickly replace it with better thoughts to fight off any unnecessary dread that wants to arise. Our inner critic never goes away. And once in a while, it might be helpful that that voice gives us constructive criticism and helps protect us. But we do have to learn how to tame the language and handle our deep seated fears so that it can turn us into defeat and into victory. It took me a long time to learn how to battle and deal with my own fears and insecurities when my inner critic would arise. I learned that it didn't actually have to be a battle at all. And it was really learning the dialogue, that internal dialogue, and how to rewrite those conversations once I trained myself on how to handle that internal confrontation. So, the objective of an inner critic is to help check ourselves, and it's being able to self assess for deeper awareness, which is incredibly important and pivotal for our own personal development, but not all the time at every occasion. And it doesn't have to be mean or nasty either. If quieting that inner critic feels especially difficult, where the thoughts seem to be overwhelming or taking over the mind, there might be something more going on. So, symptoms of anxiety and depression will have us in our minds and have us running these thoughts over and over again that can negatively affect us. And at times it feels like it's harder to gain control. This video is more about looking at just the general inner critic that we have that comes through when we're working on a project or we're in the middle of some situation and we want to be able to handle that with effective tools. And so learning how to deepen our own sense of self-compassion and stand firm in our convictions reduces that nagging voice when it pops up. So having compassionate sentiments and ways to turn that conversation around just start to quiet the critic and help us dismiss those thoughts when they come in, because they do come in. Even when we feel like we're on the right track and we're in a good cadence, even the best of us will have that inner critic arise. One of my favorite writers, Julia Cameron, had mentioned at a writing retreat that she had formally named her inner critic. And as a writer, which is what Julia Cameron is, she was only, it was only suitable for her that this voice was also a character that she could interact with in her mind. So that when her inner critic came into the scene, she could thank him and then dismiss him. His name is Nigel, and he's a gay fashion designer who lives in London. And I thought this was a perfect description of a top tier inner critic. I'm still working out my inner critic details, character details. However, you might want to give your inner critic a name and a backstory to help you paint a picture. And that way it'll be really clear when they enter into your mind, and even more clear when it's time for them to exit. And recognizing that it's a character playing a role in your life makes those mental scenarios a little bit easier to handle. So, as you're developing your inner critic character, I want to offer up 4 tactical steps that build on each other to handle that dialogue and quiet that inner debate with your inner critic. So, in the process, look for ways as well to continue to elevate and develop that self compassion and strengthen your creative conviction. So, step number 1, pay attention. So, this one seems pretty obvious, but when you're in the middle of a situation or doing something and criticism pops in out of nowhere, it can be hard to shake. And if it's left unattended, it's going to make a mess of things and really destroy what you're working on. When we're able to attend to those thoughts that go rogue, we have the ability to shift them. We're never going to be able to get rid of bad thoughts. They just come in when they come in. But how we handle them is really going to be up to us. And when we're able to recognize that they're just thoughts and they're mostly never true, then we're going to be able to decide how much value we really want to put on them. If it's constructive, it should help us move into something and help us improve on what we didn't see before. Step number 2 is to verify it, verification of these statements. So now that I've become aware of them, the second step is, are any of those statements actually valid? It's easy for us to pick up and carry family mantras or hurtful statements and sentiments that have been told to us when we were younger. But is there actually an element of truth to it? Or are these stories that just sound more like drama television than our own reality? So it's important for us to gain evidence on what to hold true. If you want evidence to support your confidence or your compassion, ask your mind to recall those times when you did do something right, or give you examples of the opposite of what your inner critic is suggesting. Your brain is powerful and it will also work for you as well as against you. It's up to you to decide how you want to program it and use it. Okay, so step number 3, once you've become aware, once you've gotten some verification, how can you rework that thought? Have a backup thought for any self-defeating ones that come in. So once you've become aware of what's happening and you find that evidence that counteracts the critic, how might you reframe that thought to be more of an accurate statement? The goal is that you're constructing a thought that works in your favor and not something to repeatedly tear you down. We won't be able to eradicate our monkey mind or dark thoughts. We can only learn how to handle them when they come in and have the tools to reframe the thinking and make it so that we can redirect the thoughts back to where they're going to give us a more balanced approach to our situations. And over time, this becomes easier and easier because we're going to know the thoughts that are coming in because they pretty much repeat themselves. And so we're going to have these sentiments and these statements to kind of balance that out or just dismiss it. It comes in and we let it go. Step number 4 is a really wonderful one. Focus on gratitude. It's a powerful practice and it's a solid hack in the mind to redirect thoughts towards a more balanced and positive outlook. It's a way to continue to build evidence on what's working for you and where to place the strength to have uplifting emotional thoughts. Gratitude elevates compassion for ourselves and for others, and it reminds us why we have our convictions in the first place by reinforcing our beliefs and our values, and we're able to appreciate them even more. So quieting the mind and quieting our inner critic takes practice. For thousands of years, spiritual gurus have spent lifetimes teaching many, many methods on finding ways to focus the mind and be in the present moment. Our experience of consciousness and the self is ongoing and the most important relationship that we'll ever have. So learning the best ways to handle these thoughts and to dive into staying into unconditional love with ourselves just helps to ease our experience. And of course, with any mental health issues that feel bigger than what you feel like you can handle, it's always best to seek out medical professional advice to help you along your path. I hope this video helped. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.